which we thought was in line with the Ga tradition. When the Ga-Mantse has taken his oath of office at Amogina, his ceremonies for installation ends. But in our judgment, the Ga state has enlarged and become even more populated. And therefore, we thought it would be in line with the spirit of installation to bring the Ga-Mantse to a greater number of his people. And how best do you do that than to organize a coronation, which is interaction between the chief and his people? And we saw that despite all the efforts which were made by distractors to stop it, by insisting that there were injunctions and what have you, it came out rather very well. And good Gans came to defend their Ga state and their chief. And I'm eternally grateful to them. And I'm sure that falls within the spirit of the oath we have taken together, me to them and they to me, that we shall defend each other in times of adversity. So that is what the coronation was about.
Yes, and during your coronation, you talked about development in the Ga state, the jobs for the youth, education, economic activity, and other things. How are you going to go about these?
Well, I said this from the background, that the Ga state was originally planned for a population of 350,000 people, not more. Today we have a quarter of the entire national population of 20 million or so resident in Accra. At least 4 million reside here, and 1 million is transitory, meaning they come in and go doing various things. But you add them to the population because at any given time they are here doing what it is they do. We do have people coming from the interior. This is the drag from the interior to the center, which is not unique to us. It is common with most metropolis. But those who come here do not come with skills. They come in with expectations only. And they add to the numbers of our own people who are not schooled, not properly trained, who look for local jobs to do, odds and ends and so on. And therefore, we ought to assist government in finding solutions to the masses of people who come here looking for the better life. For our people living in Ga-Mantse, it seems as though time has passed by rather swiftly, because I insist that in the 50 years of independence, we have very little to show by way of development in that area. In fact, we have depletion of schools. We have no churches in central Accra, where previously we had clinics. We don't have them anymore. We had the Dr. Bruce Clinic in Sempe, and then the other Dr. Bruce Memorial Hospital at the post office. All of these have vanished. Anything which served as an institution for the profit of our people seem to have vanished. And regrettably, nothing is being done to even inspire the youth to educate themselves, to train themselves, and be facilitated to look for opportunities beyond their environment. There is a great deal of anger in the youth because of this lack of opportunity. There is a certain amount of misgiving which is directed against the chiefs and the people. I mean, we ought to be honest about these things. If the youth cannot find ventilation for that anger in them, they will take to stones, they will be misled into doing things which we now look upon as rather regretful.
To cut you here, it looks like when it comes to economic activity, most of the people who come from the hinterland rather come and go into trading, take the money away, and the Ghana youth are left behind. There's nothing to inspire them to take up even vocations to help them develop. They don't like going to schools. There are few schools. I can talk about the Catholic, the Sacred Heart School, vocational school in the city center, where the youth were. I'm sure it was built for the youth. It was made for the youth, and a few other schools, basic schools. Even the basic ones, the children are not going. They rather prefer to go about the beach fishing.
No, even fishing has now become an avocation of the past, because it's not as rewarding as it had been. No, the problem you must look upon as this: all the youth of today or any given time have modeled their lives after roles that others perform. When we were growing up, we took to serving bishops because we liked them for being bishops. We became houseboys for lawyers, doctors, and others. We admired those who were the lawyers who lived within the communities, the doctors who lived within the communities, and so forth. We also had the harbor, which served as a major area of employment. It is no longer there and has not been substituted. Our lands, which we used for farming, have now been used for planting cement and concrete. And therefore, opportunity for farming is lost, for fishing is depressed, and the inspiration that we derived from having our enlightened living within our communities is also gone, because they don't live in the communities anymore.
They don't serve as role models anymore.
There are no role
far
models.
away from us.
Those that substitute for these are the ones who themselves are looking for way out of hard times. And therefore, it's not a pleasant picture. We need to re-inspire all the youth. You can't do that by simply talking to them. You must show them in practical terms what they can do to uplift themselves. Education is one way, training is another, facilitation, as my three visions point out, are ways that we can use this. But it seems to be more and more that we need immediate attention to some of those problems which are now going beyond the center city into the suburban areas. And if we don't arrest what is going on, sooner or later it will be at our doors. And we ought to realize that we are not talking about girls anymore, but we are talking about youth from all the different parts of Ghana living in Accra. And therefore, whatever facilitation, whatever opportunities we create, whatever job we develop for the youth would benefit all who are Ghanaians residing in Accra, including Ghans.
Considering the number of chieftaincy and land disputes, I'm sure I can mention a great number of areas in the Ghana state where there are two chiefs. The chiefs who can play a major role in solving all these problems are rather concentrated on land and chieftaincy disputes. Well, how are you going to manage this?
Well, it seems like an insurmountable problem, but rather manageable. You see, all the disputes you find with chieftaincy in the Ga area is predicated upon land acquisition authority to sell land. Regrettably, this has become the case because of the increasing value addition we have on our lands. As I said, most Ghanaians would want to be located in Accra. Those who are overseas are sending money by the droves to build houses in Accra. Corporate bodies want to build in Accra. Investors want to build on our lands. And therefore, it has become rather profitable to sell lands. And consequently, when you have a chief in an area, another one is installed so that he could also